Hello, my name is Riley Abernathy, and I will be presenting my team's research on disappearing discourse, network facilitators, and obstacles for political conversations. So our problem statement. Now more than ever, we are seeing a huge political divide that is pushing Americans into opposing political groups. Given the importance of political conversation for maintaining a healthy democracy, we feel this research will offer insights into how to revitalize our current civic culture. So what's our research question? How do social network dynamics impact our willingness and/or unwillingness to have political conversations? So here are our methods. We used a grounded theory approach, meaning we built our research from the ground up. So far, we have utilized 8 students from a southeastern university, which we obtained through snowball sampling and on-campus clubs. Our procedures include a screener survey, where all of our participants were screened on their political affiliation, their age, the topic of conversations that they are having, and if they are having political conversations at all. Then we used an informally structured interview guide where we asked our participants questions about the nature of their political conversations, who they were having those conversations with, and how those conversations left them feeling, and where they were having those conversations. The average interview time is 70 minutes and 24 seconds. All of our interviews were transcribed using in vivo, and when it came to coding, we used an inductive-deductive approach using in vivo 12.0. So our first theme is obstacles within networks. We came up with network sanctions, which is when groups within an individual's network inflict penalties that create a barrier and widen the divide. This includes the more severe option, network outcasting, which we have defined as when groups in a person's network threaten to or will push them out of the group for holding views that are inconsistent with intragroup views. One quote we had during interviewing that we feel defines this well is, "Just bug nuts crazy, but I was living with them, working on a campaign, so I don't want to get thrown out of where I'm staying." Then we have the less severe sanctions, which we name general sanctions, which are defined as sanctions that are not as severe as outcasting, but still sanctions that make it difficult for individuals to have meaningful conversations. The quote we used for this is, "I remember one time she actually didn't speak to me for a couple of days when Trump became elected." This interviewee is referring to her best friend. Then we have intragroup attitudes and beliefs, which we have defined as the values within a group that create obstacles for individuals to cross the political divide. One quote we had for this was, "As her daughter, she's afraid of me, like having my own viewpoint, and like quote-unquote growing up. I'm an only child, and so, like, whenever I moved away for grad school, that was like a big deal for her, and that I think she's just afraid that, like, me having my own viewpoint will lead to drastically different viewpoints, or that I think it scares her we don't agree on everything." The next theme we came up with was facilitators within networks, and this includes what we call intragroup belonging, which we defined as the sense of acceptance generated by the social network that allows for deeper political conversations. One quote we have for this is, "So yeah, I have to feel comfortable around that person, feel like I won't be judged at all, or if I'm gonna be judged is by someone who's not intentionally trying to hurt me." The second theme we came up with was shared attitudes and beliefs, which we defined as the members of the network's shared passions, beliefs, values, and morals, and their attitudes towards one another that facilitate meaningful exchanges of political ideas. A quote we found for this is, "But it doesn't always it either doesn't get across because it's like too radical for them, or I hold back a bit just to avoid that awkwardness, or, not rejection, but just kind of them not understanding and then me having to back myself up. And that's not a problem, but it's just easier when it's with somebody that knows what you're saying." Then we have a controlled group environment, which we've defined as private spaces that impose a sense of protection and security on a social group and allows the participants to feel free to share their political thoughts. One main quote that we've pulled for this is, "You go outside and talk to somebody, just a stranger, you don't know what their pain is going to be on, and that is a lot of times they will probably be disregarding, like, maybe the political affiliation of the area or region. It's probably a 50-50. You never know which way you're going to get, but if you're with someone you're comfortable with in your own environment that you're comfortable in, then I'm probably going to not have those same worries and fears that might be pushed against in terms of your opinion. The last theme we had was network settings for political conversations. While talking to our participants, we decided to figure out where and who they were having these conversations with, and they were mostly having them with family, friend groups, coworkers, on social media, or within cultural groups. Our preliminary results suggest that people are having more political conversations within their friend groups. Our research has found that 6 out of the 8 participants chose to talk about their friend groups above anything else. The preliminary findings suggest that a significant obstacle for students to overcome when having political conversations is the threat of social sanctions. Social network members' attitudes and beliefs have an influence on the nature of intergroup political conversations. Controlled environments create a sense of security that facilitates deep and meaningful conversation. While our research is still in its early stages, we feel that this may suggest that our research has a place in social network theory. So our conclusion, what's next? So our research is still in the early stages. We are planning to conduct more interviews and update our coding scheme accordingly, and we hope to explore the concept of intergroup dynamics and their impact on the nature of political conversations. Thank you for joining my presentation.